Hello, my name is Eduardo and today I am here with a new tutorial for AppyBuilder or Thunkable or App Inventor. Okay, so you can follow this tutorial with these programs. Okay, well, now today we're going to make another spaceship game. Basically, it is the same idea as in my previous tutorial. You can check the link. Okay, so but now the difference is that we're going to make it not full screen. We're going to make it just like using this mini screen. Okay, and we're going to add some buttons to control the rotation of the ship. Okay, well, that is simply the idea. Okay, so if you check here, we have left, we rotate, and then you have right, and also you fire, and then check the spaceship. It has a mini animation when it fires. Okay, well, so let's start from the very beginning. We're going to create a new project. Let's call it Spaceship Tutorial 2. Okay, so we are going to start. We are here in AppyBuilder, and first we need the graphics. Okay, so we can use some graphics from Google, or you can make your own graphics. Okay, so there are some very interesting pixel graphics, so you can use any of them, and I will show you what about if you want to use some of them, okay, instead of making your own graphics. For example, let's pick one of these ones. So probably what about, I like this one. Oh, this is cool. So probably this one. Okay, so I'm going to copy just you can download it and open it in GIMP, okay, or Photoshop, or you just, for example, in GIMP you have an option to try to open this from the web. Okay, so copy the address of the image, then we go to GIMP. GIMP it is a free program, remember. So you say open place, then you just paste the address and you just wait for this. If we are lucky, we can have this. Okay, we have it this with the transparency. This is better because if you try to do this with pasting, okay, you will lose the transparency. Well, we have here the transparency, and now let's create here a new file in GIMP, and let's set it to probably, so we don't need a very big ship. Okay, so I'm going to set it to 128 times 128. Okay, so and then you have this. Then we are going to go to the ship and we're going to copy, Control C or copy, then we return to this square that we just created, and it's very big. Okay, so to a new layer, then we just destroy the background, and then we are going to scale this. You can press Control to keep the same proportion or the aspect. Okay, so just make sure you can watch this clearly. Here it's okay, and here it's okay. Then you just apply, and that's it. Now you check if you have some distortion, because now it's pretty small, so you can just try again. Okay, so here, and then we just can apply this. Okay, but instead of that, check, we're going to make it like this: cubic, non-interpolation. Probably if we just move the interpolation, we avoid this mistake. Probably 127, it's okay. Scale, and that's it. Now it looks quite blurry, okay, but remember that in the game it is pretty small. Okay, So, and that's it. We have the ship. Just let me move it here a little bit. You can use the arrows on your keyboard. And let's try to center the ship. So I guess it's okay. So you can align it also. So now we need to think about the bullet. Okay, this is going to fire something. Okay, so we can just download the same. It's a missile or something. Okay, probably you can get missile, something like that. Or you can just create your own bullet. Okay, I'm going to create mine, something very simple. So I'm going to use here this one. I'm going to create a new layer. Then I'm going to just make it like this. I'm going to fill this this mask with white, selecting the layer. You can rename this to bullet, and you can select here edit, fill, and let's use a color like white or something. Fill, select none, then you just move it a little bit. So this is going to be the bullet. Okay, so you can just modify things using some other filters or something. You can use this thing here, here. I guess that's okay. Then we're just going to shrink it a little bit. I guess that's okay. So, and then you can just use your eraser and you just, oh no, looks horrible. Maybe something here, shrink, and probably we can add something a little bit more like orange. We can create a new layer and then we just paste. That's it. And probably we can just leave it like this. A little bit of Gaussian blur. More Gaussian blur for this one. And then we have this. Okay, this is the bullet. Now, well, first we're going to select this. We are going to hide this bullets, and we are going to export this frame. Export PNG, and then we are going to look for the images that we have. For example, I have here, I don't know if I have something for GIMP, create, and then App Inventor. Then here, probably create another that is ship. And here we're going to write ship. Okay, so we have the spaceship, and then we just need the bullet. Well, to do that, we're going to combine this, and we're going to copy this. Control C, and we're going to paste it as a new image. Then we're going to set this image to something like 32 pixels, 32 times 32. We try to center this, and that's it. And we just scale it a little bit. And that's it. Now we just export this as we did before. So ship, we're going to call it bullet. Export. That's it. Now we return here to the spaceship. So we have the spaceship, and there is something that we can do here. Create a new layer. We're going to duplicate this one just to have a copy. In here, every time we fire, probably we change our ship. Okay, so we're going to create just a rough mask. This part gets a little bit here, filter, then select feather. We feather the mask, and then we're going to use we can use color saturation. So probably you can use something like that. Oh, sorry, but it has to be here in the one that we just duplicated. I'm not changing a lot, so let's use here the color. Let's add more color here. That it's quite okay. I mean, I will explain this. So I see this. Let's fill this with the color orange. Then we're going to add here color, and we're going to select none, and we're going to just add a Gaussian blur. That's it. And now probably this color we can change it a little bit. Something more dramatic. That's it. So it's like green. So what if we change just this thing for something a little bit like that? Green. I like it. So let's export again this bullet, and let's export just this like this. Okay, export. No problem. Export like ship. This has to be. We had a problem with the ship. We're going to export this as ship number 2. So we need two graphics, the original and the other one. Okay. So also you can change the color as I show you here, but if you don't like the ship. Okay, well, anyway, now let's go to AppyBuilder. we're missing anything. Bullets and ships. Okay, let's set everything here. And let's place the screen here just for you to see. Now let's start making this a little bit smaller. So the first thing is to upload the files. I guess these are the previous one that I did. So let's go to images. I guess it was in GIMP, App Inventor, ship, and let's import one by one. Then we just upload the other one, ship 2. And finally, we upload the bullet. That's it. Now, we are going to create everything in here. We're going to design the appearance. So we have screen. First is just to center, horizontally center. Then we can change the background probably to something like light gray. Then we go to add. The first thing that we're going to add is horizontal arrangement. Actually, we're going to need 2 horizontal arrangements. Okay, so we're going to rename them. And this is going to be horizontal arrangement canvas. And the second one, it will be horizontal arrangement button. Okay, we're going to center them. Well, the content for this horizontal arrangements, center. Now, horizontal arrangement canvas, we're going to set it to percentage, and height, it will be like 40, let's set it to 40%. And for the width, we're going to set it to 80%. Okay, so quite okay. So a little bit, let's increase this to 50% of the screen. No, 45%. Now let's change the color to dark gray. No, to gray. Okay, for the horizontal arrangement here. And now we're going to check the other one. We're going to set the height to 35%. The width to fill parent. That's it. And then we're going to add probably another gray color. Okay, now we're going to go here to drawing an animation, and we're going to add canvas in the horizontal arrangement canvas. We're going to set this. Now check the values. I have my canvas horizontal arrangement 45 times 80. 45 times 80 in percent. Okay, 45. So I'm going to make something similar. Instead of 45, I'm going to set it to 43. Then I check 43, and the other one, it is 80, so probably this will be like 76. This is just to make a little border over here. Now you check, we have this. Okay, now we are going to add the buttons. You can change the color of the canvas just to pretend that we're in the space to dark gray. Also, we are going to add the 2 sprites. Sorry. So let's rename this to ship sprite. And this is going to be bullet sprite. That's it. We're going to add the pictures. Just use ship 1 and use bullet. That's it. we have bullet, and we have the ship. It looks pretty big. Now let's go here to add the buttons. Button number 1, left, right, and fire. So let's set the size for these buttons. For the high, field parent, it can be, or you can set as we did before, just to give a little space. For example, in this one, I just did, if this was 45, this was 43. So we can make, if this is 35, probably 33%, it will be okay for the high. 33%. And we do the same for the 3 buttons for the high. 33% and 33%. Now the next thing is the width. The width, we're going to set it to, we have 3 buttons, we have to divide the total, that is 100%, so probably 30, it's okay. 30, and 30. Probably this is 30, 60, 90. Probably the fire button, it can be like 33. And probably 35 to make it different. You can add images to your buttons. Okay, so now let's change the text. This is fire. This is right. And this is left. Okay, so now we have the interface basically, okay, of the game. So you can add some space here, okay, but I guess it's okay. I quite like it. Now we are going to need also some sensors. Go to sensors, and we are going to add 1 clock, 2 clocks, and I guess 3 clocks it can. I'm not sure, I don't remember, but well, let's use 3 clocks. Let's disable them. Let's set the first one to 10, and let's call it rotation clock. So this is the rotation clock, and this is ship color clock. That's it. And we're going to set this to 200. And we're going to fix this. Okay, after this, I know it was quite long. We're going to continue now with the blocks. So for the blocks, the first thing that we need to create is a procedure to resize the ship and the bullet and to place them. Okay, so I want them to be in the center. Okay, so and I want to make them smaller. Okay, so for the correct size, I guess the bullet is okay. So now to do that, let's make this thing bigger. 100. It's okay. So for you to see these blocks, so let's create the first procedure. We're going to use the screen, the initialize, because we're going to load these values here in the initialize. So the procedure, the first thing when we start the game, okay, we want let's call this resize, or let's call it set size and position. That's it. The first thing is to set the size and then the position. Okay, so let's go here to ship, and we're going to make this based on the percentage. So let's start with the height of the ship. So to calculate this, we're going to make it smaller based on the canvas. Okay, so probably we want this to be like 10% of the canvas or 15% of the canvas or something. To do that, we are going to use math, okay, and we're going to multiply the canvas width, or height, I mean, height, but it's canvas height here, times the percentage. So, but you have to use decimal values, okay? So, for example, here if I want to make this to use the 100%, so I just use 0.1, that is, 1 is the 100%. So in this case, if you want to make it 50%, it is just 0.5. This is the 50%. What about the 5%? 5% it's 0.05. This is the 5%, okay? So let's make it 10%. 10%. So that it's equals to 10 divided by 100, okay? So now to calculate it's not heading, sorry, it's height. Sorry, I was just confused for the age. Now for the width of the ship, we're going to make this width. We can just duplicate this, or because this is a square, remember when we make this in GIMP, it was a square. So we have this value. So we are just going to copy this value over here, the value that we just calculated. So we go for the height, yeah. Problem is to find the height, and it's going to copy this value to this, and we will have a perfect square. Now we can make this, we can see it's pretty small, okay? So what about if we set it to the, this is the 10%, probably 0.20. Looks better, but you know what, the color is pretty dark, so probably we need to change the canvas color to light gray. I guess it looks better. Now it is not resizing because we need to insert this here in screen initialize. Now we just try to see this, and I guess you can see it, okay? So I can see it probably in this in the video is not very clear, but in the cell phone looks okay. It's quite sharp. Okay, now what's next? We need to place the ship, okay? So this is the original position of the ship. So to do that, we are going to duplicate this one because we're going to place it based on the percentage, okay? So it's quite similar. So instead of the height, we're going to use the Y. Instead of the width, we're going to use the X, okay? So now here we're going to use based on this. So we're going to place this in the center, so it's 0.5, that is the 50%. If we do the procedure, check, almost, but it's not, because the origin of this of the sprites are on the upper left corner. So this is the origin, so it is here the 0 or the origin of the position, the X and Y positions. Okay, if we place it in 0, it will be like here, just this corner, and you will have the sprite placed there. So to fix this, we are going to add something here. We are going to add math, and we're going to subtract, okay, this value that we just calculated minus, okay, the ship. We are talking about the height, so we're going to talk about this, the ship height divided by 2. Okay, so now let's make it smaller. Check the ship, okay, the Y position, it will be like in the 50% minus, okay, the ship height divided by 2, and this will be something like this. Do it, and now it is in the center. For the X-axis is the same, just duplicate this procedure, change to X, change height for width, and width. We do it again, and it is perfectly placed in the center of the screen. Okay, now we have everything for the ship. So what about for the bullet? We're going to do the same. Actually, check. We're going to duplicate this, but we're going to change this to bullet original position. So this is the starting position. Okay, let's call it starting. I guess it looks better or sounds better. Starting position. So this is the starting position of the bullet, but we're going to change everything. Okay, so here instead of sprite, it's bullet, it's bullet, it's bullet, it's bullet. Here it's bullet. Sorry. It is bullet, 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 bullet. Okay, we have everything in here. So now you have bullet, but obviously we are going to calculate everything in a different way. If you remember when we made the graphic it was 32 pixels. Okay, so and this was 128. 32, it is like 128, it is 4 times 32, so we can use that instead of having this, because we just calculated this. We can divide the height, okay, the spaceship height. I hope you understand this. I know sometimes sounds quite confusing. We're going to divide this by 4 because we know that this is the proportion that we have. Okay, and then for the other one, we're going to use just the bullet sprite height. Okay, so we make a perfect square. So now let's see what's happening now if we just do this procedure, the bullet starting procedure. It's over there. We cannot see the bullet. Why? Because probably here we need to change something. Let's see this bullet sprite, and let's change this to 3, the Z in the bullet sprite in the designer, and let's see what's happening now. Now it's over the ship here, but obviously when we start the game, let's do this procedure. It is over here because it is quite transparent, so that's why. Now we want the ship to be over, okay, or on the bullet. Okay, so let's go here and let's change the bullet sprite Z to 1 and the ship to 3. So the ship, it will be on or over the bullet. So, and also let's rename this because I forgot to rename the buttons. It is very important. So this is the left button, this is the right button, and finally we have fire button. Okay, we return here and we're going to load this procedure after the other one, so we have to refresh the screen, but well, it is not visible right now. Okay, so if we just check, we have bullet sprite, bullet sprite, bullet sprite, bullet sprite, everything is okay. Now at the beginning we don't want to see the bullet. Right now it's in the middle. Okay, so if we just hide the ship just to see this, okay, we can see. Enable, mean visible. Let's change the property visible just to see the bullet. It is perfectly aligned, okay, under the bullet sprite. So if we do it here, well, it is over there in the center. But as I told you, we want to see the ship, and the bullet, it has to be not visible, okay? So let's just destroy this. That's it. Okay, so these are the first two procedures, okay, to set the position and the bullet starting position. So we insert this in here and we load these procedures in the initialize event. Okay, so it is loading these two procedures here. Set size and position. Now let's start adding movements to this thing. Okay, for that we're going to create first our first variable, and we're going to call it rotation value. Okay, so we have the rotation value, and we're going to set this value to 0, just to initialize the value to 0. Okay, now what's next is that we are going to start like, what about when I press left? What happens? Well, we're going to affect the property here. So let's go to left button, and we're going to use touch down. Okay, when we press touch down, so we are going to change this value when we press to the left. So now, how can we know this? Well, I will explain just really fast, because we are going to use the heading property. So imagine that our ship is over here. Our ship is facing right now upwards. So we have to change that. It is facing 90 degrees. Okay. So let's go here to AppyBuilder. Let's change, and the bullet sprite heading is 0. That is not correct, because the graphic is facing upward. So we're going to change this to 90, and let's see what happens. And the bullet sprite the same. We're going to change to 90. Well, we cannot see some of these things. Probably companion is like having problems right now. Okay, well, now with companion, when we move this to the heading to 90, check, now it is moving 90 degrees, this thing. Okay, because it was in here, and then it thinks that 90 degrees for it is like that. So we don't want to have that. So if we set it to 0 again, and the bullet as well, we have it facing upwards. Right now it is not like super important to have it very accurate, this thing, but it is a recommendation that when you start like making your graphics, you won't start with the default position. So let's set this thing. So you have to rotate everything, okay, to the right. So probably here. Now this is 0 for the app. So, and you can just export, and just to avoid any problem. Okay, so you export like, and you use ship. As I told you, right now it is not super important, but in some games it is super important to have it correctly. Okay, export, replace, yes. Now the other one, we select export, ship to, and then we're going to import again these graphics in AppyBuilder. For the bullet, we do the same. We go to image, transform, rotate, and we just select export, bullet, replace. Okay, now we go here, upload file, we're going to select the same files, ship, replace, yes, upload, replace, yes, and finally upload, replace, yes. So we have everything over there. Now we're going to check the screen. The screen, it's always, I use this just to refresh. Now this is the 0 position. It's okay. Now we were with the left property. Okay, so to modify the left property, we're going to set the initial. This is going to change because we go to the left, as I showed you here in the protractor. We are in 0. So if we want to move or rotate to the left, we have to increase the value. So from 0, 10 to 10 to we are going to increase. So if we want to go to the right, we have to decrease this heading property. Okay, so we go to the left and to the right. So let's make it here in the blocks. So first, let's set the global rotation value, that is the constant value, to 14. Then we are going to activate a clock, the first clock, the rotation clock. We don't have anything in this clock right now, but we're going to enable this. So we're going to enable the clock. So for this clock, we're going to select the event, but it's going to have it every time we finish. Well, we have this kind of cycle or loop. Well, we're going to use the sprite, the ship, its heading position. We are going to increase it by itself, okay, the current position plus this value, this kind of rotation value. So the current position, the heading plus this thing. So that's it, the thing. And now this is when we press down, touch down. So now if we want to stop this, it's when we just touch up, or we stop holding the button. So we're going to stop the clock here. We set to false. For left and right, it's practically the same, but you change to right and you change to a negative value, -14. And then you just duplicate the event, the touch up to right, false, and that's it. Then we're going to try this. Left, right. Ooh. Left, right. Like in Sesame Street, right, left. Okay, so now our ship, it is rotating. Now what's next? Well, I guess we are like, now we need to work with the bullet. Okay, so now to work with the bullet, let's start making here the fire thing. Okay, so we can set, create procedure, and we can call it fire bullet, something like that. So when we press fire, okay, what is the first thing that we want to have? Well, first we want to change the bullet. Okay, we want to make it visible. We want to make it visible because we make it invisible in the designer. We want to make it visible. We want to change its heading. Okay, so the direction, and also we want to change its speed. Okay. So these are the things that we want to modify. So first, appear the bullet under the ship, then set the direction, and then move the bullet using the speed property. Okay, now what is next? Well, the other thing that it's important is this. If we have this bullet, we fire. We don't want to fire again until the bullet reach an edge or an enemy, has a collision with an enemy. Right now we don't have enemies, okay? So probably in tutorial 2 we have some enemies, but right now this is the idea, to touch any of these edges and disappear and reset the position. Okay, so basically that is the beautiful idea. So first, visible, let's make it true. Now the heading, we want to use the heading from the ship. And the speed, let's set right now a very slow value, something like 5. That's it. Now when we fire, we want to make this button disabled. Okay, we don't want to be able to fire again. So to do that, we're going to select the fire button and we're going to make it, we're going to disable this button and we're going to set it to false. Okay, now we want to make this button enable when we get an edge, but let's start little by little. We have these properties and we're going to load these properties, as I told you, in the fire button event, in the click event. So we load this procedure, fire bullet, and then we just rotate this. Probably I want to fire over here, and that is my bullet. But check, it's not stopping, it's just trying to continue when it is touching the edge. So to do that, we have to reset this when we get to the edge. So we select here bullet sprite, edge reach. So when we get an edge, so we want to reset the position. So that's why we created, remember the initial procedure? That is bullet starting position. We're going to use this, but we are going to change some things. Okay, so what are the things that we're going to change? Check bullet starting position. We are going to add something here. So we want to have the speed, bullet sprite speed to 0. So we are adding this to the bullet starting position, the one that we created at the beginning, okay? So the position is 0, and we are going to duplicate this, and we are going to set the visibility, okay, to false. That's it. So we set it to the position, and that's it. So let's see what's happening. That's it. Now there is another thing. We need to re-enable this button because right now I cannot fire. Duplicate, and we're going to set fire button enable to true, and we're going to set it here. Obviously I have to do it manually right now. Now let's try it. Fire, fire, I cannot fire again. Fire, that's it, and that's the way we do it. Okay, so basically that is the idea with this mini game. Also we are missing the color. Remember that I told you about the color? Well, just remember for the bullet, this is the initial thing for the bullet. We set the size of the bullet and then we just change the position where we set the original position in the center. Then we just make it, we stop the bullet if we have any speed, and then we make it invisible. We make it bullet sprite visible, false, so it is invisible. Also we use this when we press the button, the fire button that is here. So we make it visible, we change its heading, and we change its speed. Now for the speed we can make something more interesting. We use a random integer, a random value, so probably between 5 and 12. And now check. It looks quite choppy. So to fix that, you go to the designer, bullet sprite, the interval, you change it to 10, and now it will look smooth. That's it. Okay, that's it, the idea. Now just to finish, let's change the color of the spaceship. So we can do that. Just going to this ship color clock. We're going to use this one, this clock. And we are going to change the picture. So, but we're going to change the picture of the ship when we fire. So, ship sprite, and let's go for speed picture. And let's change the picture for the picture 2. Remember, ship to PNG, ship to PNG, and then we're going to return to the original one. So that's why we're going to use this clock, but we're going to enable this clock, enable clock to true, the ship color clock. Then we just duplicate this and duplicate this, and we're going to change the values. We're going to disable this clock that we just created, and we return to the original sprite. Now let's see if this is looking as we want. Check, we have this changing thing. We can change the order, maybe to have this here. It's quite the same. But check. You can make it smaller if you change, the duration of this, just changing the ship color thing to probably 100. And it will look really fast. It's just something like a little detail. And that's it. So I guess that's all for this tutorial. So it was like that. Let me check. I guess that's all for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. My name is Eduardo. Okay, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Okay, that will help me a lot. Also check my Facebook pages that I have. Okay, where I share some things about App Inventor or AppyBuilder. Also, I recommend to check my Patreon page if you want to help me, okay, to make these videos. And if you're interested in part number 2, adding some enemies and more, I guess for the, if we make another one, it is like adding enemies. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Also, I will share, okay, this picture, okay, the sprites with you, okay, just to follow the tutorial. My name is Eduardo. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching this.